Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
Facing adversity is a part of the human experience. No matter what we do, no matter what we come from, no matter how we're born, whether it's silver spoon or if you're like me growing up homeless, we all have decisions to make in our life. And in those decisions, a lot of times we are impacted by the past, using and leveraging that for both good or bad, depending on the perspective in which you look at it. For some of us, though, we have the ability to take the very things that have caused the most pain in our lives and flip them to go and do something beautiful and extraordinary, which we're going to talk about today with my amazing guest and friend, Michael Unbroken. Michael, my friend, thank you for being here. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
So first, obviously, let's dive in. Why should anyone listen to our conversation today?
I feel like I represent a lot of the underdog story. I've been through the trenches and come back to the finish line, and I think a lot of people can resonate with that because they go through struggles their entire life, whether it's a death in the family, addiction, trauma, whether they're still going through it right now. There's proof that, if you work hard, just try to, be a good person, focus on like positivity, get the help you need, then you can, do some great things, right? So.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people right now more than ever, they feel kind of stuck. They feel lost. I think that obviously I've been there. I know you've been there as well. Tell us about the story and the journey. Where did this process begin for you?
I came to Canada when I was like 6 years old. My family, immigrated us, obviously when I was really young, and we were worried about the communists taking over, Hong Kong. So my family took all of us and flew us to Calgary. Completely different, weather, cold and hot, and had to learn a new language. And I grew up just, I talked different, acted different, was just a different kid, but I always told people I don't remember getting bullied. I know a lot of people are worried about their kids getting bullied nowadays, but that wasn't a worry of mine. And I hung out with some really nice people like throughout my junior high and elementary. But I think it was the transition period was when I was in grade 9, grade 10. That's when things kind of went down south pretty bad because my mom passed away from cancer, and that really drove me from being a straight A student, listening to my parents, and then suddenly, just like a snap of a finger, I dyed my hair, fought all the time, started stealing, went juvie for a bit. My dad didn't see eye to eye. I just swore at him all the time. My family didn't recognize me anymore. I was just like a different kid. I just started growing up on the streets, ran away like all the time, never came home. Only reason why I came home was because I was under probation. That I was under strict watch and stuff, and just a terrible, I felt like I was a terrible kid. I felt like I let my mom down, all these years, and now I finally, found my path, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, it's interesting how these moments in our lives can kind of change the trajectory of everything. And I think it's really, first off, it sucks, right? To have such a awfulsome experience at such a young age when we don't really have the mental capacity to navigate those things. And I think a lot of people do go the wrong direction. Certainly I attest to that for my own self. being in trouble literally every day of my teens, constantly running from the cops, getting shot at, breaking the house. Like I was on this mission, which I look back now and I understand it better. Like I was this hurt, lost little boy just trying to understand how to navigate the world. And I think that a big part of that is you just don't understand it, right? And so looking back in those moments, what I always come to is I try to give myself grace for it and go, yeah, dude, you did your best, and you're a maniac because, well, how do you process such a horrible thing,
Yeah, that's true. Like, I do look back and like all the things I've done, I look back, but they're building blocks, like I don't think ever want to change anything. It made me who I am today, but yeah, I've been like, almost died a bunch of times. Most of my friends are in jail or deported or, or, just, in jail. Right. So I was lucky I got out early, before things, the really crazy stuff happened, and, attributed to some ex-girlfriends that were talking me out of things, and just started working normal jobs and try to stay out of the crazy, the gang stuff, the deep stuff, so, but, I think even now, like, I feel like a big part of me is missing, because like I see other people's families are like, they have their closeness with their mom and dad, their faith and stuff. And I lost my faith. I don't even know what I believe in anymore. That's the other thing. It's like, I have a cross, I have Jesus tattooed on me, but I don't go to church. I don't talk about it. And I always just say I do it for myself. I don't say I do it for anyone else. My mom was big. I feel like if she didn't pass away, I probably wouldn't have became the way I became. She was a loving, nurturing mom. Just walked me to school, just very patient. And my dad was, opposite. Tribute, like I feel bad for him, because being a single parent, losing your wife and having to take on all the responsibilities. I think he wasn't ready for that, because my mom did everything. So he's kind of like, oh my god, I gotta do like clean the house. I gotta like bring money home and still be a good dad and stuff. I think he just kind of got lost, and then that totally lost me there. So
Yeah, I mean that's so intense, man. And you think about that, and you know, I guess for me a long time ago, I just came to this point because I grew up Mormon, right, and which is kind of intense considering the circumstances. And I just kind of got to this place at one point where I realized I don't have to believe in anything other than what I believe. I don't need to go to church. I don't need to like make myself bend to what other people feel like I should be. And it's interesting you said that. You're like, yeah, and a lot of this stuff I do for me. I Dude, I'll be honest with you. I think there's a lot of power in that, because I think a lot of times like you have to be able to force yourself into being a better person, to being a better version of you. And it starts with you. Now, also there's a huge conversation we had about, your why and making it for other people, which, obviously with your business and things that you do now, which we'll get into, you've made a big impact on others' lives. But I think there's something really powerful about being like, you know what? I made the decision to choose myself, right? What was there a pivotal moment for you where you were like, you know what? If I don't do this for me, I'm definitely going to jail. I'm going to die. Like this is not going to end well.
yeah, I think that happened many times throughout my life, and I had to, I'll kind of come in and out of like the scene and stuff, and it's usually through a period of like depression or alcoholism or just like partying and stuff, and those are results from making bad investments, from like trusting the wrong people, and then of course everything just spirals down, right? So, and then hanging out with the wrong friends, a lot of friends are just, I cared about quantity, now it's just quality. I've cut off 95% of my friends now. I quit drinking, for a year and a half almost now, so I don't even care about it. I love not drinking. Now it's just like such a waste of money and time. Back then, I spent so much money on alcohol. I almost lost my house and my car. Just like being behind on payments, just go out blowing thousands on girls I don't even know, and but I think like the most recent one that I finally kind of like realized it more consistently was my ex. For 12 years, she's still a really good friend of mine, and like I think she kind of like drove that in my head, that like if we're gonna have a future, I gotta be consistently much better in everything. And I was a big partier back then, and just, that was a big reason why I was just so lazy and just trusting people so easily, And she's just like, stop trusting people, do your own thing, have your own ideas, stop jumping on other people's ideas, and you'll be feeling more fulfilled, right? And that's kind of what I feel now, even without her being by my side. But we're still good friends, and just, she's 12 years younger than me, but she was more mature than me at the time, right? So, and yeah, I think you have to have that special someone that can like fish you out of the water, that care about you enough that say, you're worth it, like just keep coming, just keep working hard, right? Like, and now I'm 45 and finally found my way, to the straight and narrow, right? So,
Yeah, dude, I don't think there's a right time. You know what I mean? I hit my first of many rock bottoms, when I'm like 13, 14 years old. And by the time I was 25, I had another one. And then it's just, you kind of look at your life, and at one point you have to make a decision. And I remember sitting even recently and just thinking to myself, like, who do I want to be? And that's such a hard thing, because I think society has failed us in so many ways, especially as young boys, right? Because I don't know about you, but growing up, we're close in age, right? We're a few years apart, but I grew up I'm in this hip hop culture. I'm in this sex, drugs, rock and roll kind of culture. I'm in this thing about like, go sell drugs because that's the way out kind of culture, running the streets. I'm sure you and I probably did a lot of the same things. And nobody in that, I've said this before. I wish someone would have just smacked me in the face and be like, dude, what are you doing? And for some people that shift happens when they're 15. For some people it's 45. For some people it's 65, right? And I don't think it matters, but I do think people get kind of caught up in that. They're like, I should be in this place now. And I don't know if you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is or not, but he's a pretty well-known marketer in the United States, and he's got just tons of content. And my one of my best friends sent me this video of him, probably like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, and he's saying to people, he's like, dude, you're 40. Like, you are still a baby. Like, do you have any idea how much time is in front of you? Now, for some of us, 40 is like the halfway mark. And I'm like, I probably feel like that's me. Maybe I'll get lucky. I'll make it to 80. But I'm like, dude, what I could do in the next 40 years is unbelievable. But it relies on you looking at your life and going, you know what, I'm going to bet on myself. And I think that's super, super scary, especially in the beginning. What was that like for you? Like, you're looking at your life, you're like, man, I've just got to do something differently. At least I have a couple of people around me who are encouraging me, but I have to be the one to do this. What has that been like?
oh, it's been like life changing. It's I'm enjoying every moment, like I think I depended on people too much. I never ended up letting my creativity come out to the max, and I have ADHD, like severe ADHD, but I don't take my meds, and I talk a lot. Like I write people like essays and stuff, and I've scared away girls, I've scared away business relationships, but that's just how I am. But like, that's my personality. It's not like any to do any harm. I have a good heart, but I think like even with my ex, like before we broke up, she was helping me with a lot of the websites and like building this and visual stuff. And then after we broke up, then I took on everything, right? Now I do marketing, I do social media, I do everything. And I feel like sometimes you have to put yourself into the hard, some things you've never done before and just learn. I've learned almost self-taught, almost my entire business I built by myself now. And even without her, I just start transcending, getting better, better, having more ideas and like great ideas. Some ideas people are like, oh, that's genius. Like something I never thought I would because I was just so lazy. I just laid back and I just didn't do anything. But when ADHD kicks in, that's your superpower. And when you're really interested in something, you're obsessed with it. I'm just like constantly like want to make it perfect, And I think that's a great thing. That's what drives me right now is really learning all the time.
Yeah, and as somebody with ADHD, trust me, I totally get that. And I think for me, it's been, you have to you have to learn how to bet on yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to. What's it been like for you transitioning into that place where you're like starting to believe? Like, where was it at the beginning? How did you start to kind of build those pillars of who you are?
Right, yeah. So most of my life, I've taken like a lot of gambles, a lot of risks, right, on myself, but in not very calculated ways. I didn't research things. I just kind of jumped at things, right? But now everything I do, because it's my own business, I'm very calculative. I don't take risks without thinking. I put it through many different scenarios, and because now I'm betting on myself, like everything I do is just completely different. I don't really trust working with people as much anymore because of all the negative things that's happened to me in the past. Just now, you know, I feel like investing in yourself and just doing everything hands on and everything is the best way. Um, and now I'm just yeah, I'm just obsessed with just like trying to better myself and trying to do the best business I can, best help as many people as I can. Like because in the past I'd never really thought of those things right until now, right? So I feel like I didn't waste a lot of my years, but I certainly I didn't make the best decisions for a long time until recently, right? And I just stopped drinking like a year and a half ago, so I think it was I think that was clarity. When you don't drink and stuff, it really clears your mind, right? So and then cutting off your negative friends really clears your mind. So now I'm just all about myself, and I hermit a lot too, like, but I'd rather hermit than be backstabbed and like and be used and like abused and so I think now is the best period for me right now.
Yeah, I think that there's something really true to that. And I go look at a huge transformation which happened in my life in my early 30s. And so much of it was I just removed myself from everything and everyone, and I got super focused. And that's how I built the podcast. That's how I wrote my first book. That's how I started coaching people. Like, there's something real about just kind of saying no to everyone and everything except for the goals that are in front of you. And I also think there's something powerful about the ability to go and do something which makes you be of service. Um, I realized this from years of sitting in rooms with people in addiction recovery. And so much of what you see, and I'm not saying this is always the case, but this is the case a lot. People who are addicts are incredibly selfish. Like, I put myself in that category, obviously. But I look at the transition of going from what can people do for me? What is it that I can get from people? Which inevitably, you're talking about getting backstabbed. Like, yeah, that's probably our fault as the individual, right?
Yeah.
And I go, well, why am I in this situation? And you start dissecting all of that. And then if you transition, you're like, well, how do I actually go and be of service to other people? What's really I don't know if this was your experience, but was incredible for me, it required me to become a better person. And that's why I've always said for years on this show, if you are stuck, if you are depressed, if you are angry, if you are sad, if things in your life are not working, go volunteer. Go do something that's not about you. And I think that's where Think Unbroken kind of came from. Because as I was sitting here looking at my life at 29, 30, 31 years old, it's not like it was the worst life ever, but I wasn't happy and I wasn't satisfied and I wasn't doing anything that mattered. And so I thought to myself, let me go be of service to people. And it kind of just created itself over the years. Why did you decide to go and help people? Like, where did that come from?
So as you know, I help a lot of seniors. That's my main focus right now. Is I help seniors, and I think it's kind of stemmed from my vision loss. So I lost my vision. I had a retinal detachment off one of my left eye, right? So I lost my vision, and that was when I was like in and out of the eye clinics, always meeting seniors. They're always like, I'm the youngest guy there, 30 something years old. They're like, "Do you get punched in the eye in an MMA fight?" I'm like, no, it just spontaneously happened. And they're 90, some of their 80s, and they're getting their cataract surgeries. And then I had 2 cataract surgeries, and then I had retinitis pigmentosa, where I've lost my peripheral and I only have tunnel vision on one side, right? So I really felt like I felt the connection with the seniors, because we not only do they have hearing loss, they have sight loss, they have health loss, like they have health issues, right? And they're declining, and they're almost, their 80s, 90s, and they're living in a senior home. They're still joyful. Some of them are
Mm.
miserable, but some of them are just so happy. But they tell me, live your life. Like they're like, if only I could have 40 years, like how much would I do with that? Right. And that resonated with me. And I love talking to them because they're full of like, um, just information, knowledge, and like I like to say that they're talking to people. Yeah, and some people are like, why do you talk to seniors like for like hours, right? And I was like, why not? Like I learn a lot from them, and I see how their mechanics are, and that some of them just want that extra 20, 30 years to really like live it up, but they can't. So, and I have that time too, even though I'm partially blind. I I've traveled to 36 countries with my ex-girlfriend for the last 10 years because I was worried I'm going to go completely blind, right? So I've seen a lot, I've done a lot for someone that's in their 40s, but now I feel like I want to be not, it's kind of like the good soldier kind of thing, to like pay it forward, like, do good and feel good about it, like, and I feel good about helping people. Being people can hear again, they can be less isolated from their conversations, from family, have something affordable that doesn't cost them an arm and a leg, right? So that's why I feel like, yeah, like my purpose is now, and helping seniors, and not just seniors, people of all walks of life. Just watching them improve is just a blessing for me right now. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful, man. It's wild how and life is going to go so fast, right? And you don't know what's going to happen to you.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
I mean, you might not be here tomorrow. You might be here when you're 110. Like, you don't know, right? And I think that my life got better when I started serving people. When I pulled myself out of my own head and my own ass, and I was like, go out here and make the world a better place. Even though it's hard. I mean, this, it's so hard to help people in any capacity, right? And there's a lot of people, they just don't want help. And like, you don't help the people who don't want to be helped. That's fine. But there's something really powerful about every single day showing up with a mission and with purpose. And I think that's where people get lost all the time. They're like, what's my purpose? And I'm like, there are so many problems in the world that you could offer your energy to solve. Start with something. Start with the thing that's in front of you. Start with the same problems that your family and your friends, or maybe even you, have had, and go and put in effort to make the world a better place. Because it's interesting. I know that you're in Canada and we're in the States, but we live in such an isolated world where people are terrified to say hello to you in the elevator. And so it's like, sometimes I don't know that people know necessarily where to even begin. So let's say someone is like you and they're on the backside of this really hard time, and they recognize through this conversation right now, they're like, maybe the thing that I need to do is to go be of service in some capacity. What should they be thinking about, and where should they start?
I think also, like, yeah, helping people, you need to be in the right mind frame too, right? Like for me, I think my ex always told me like I needed to get help, therapy, improve myself before you can help someone else, right? Because if I'm not in the right mind frame, I can't help someone else, right? I'm just being like, not a fake, but like, um, I just feel like for me to like go sober and actually go get help and get therapy, was the first step in telling them I need help, like I have a lot of help I need. I didn't want to live in that like that wall that I had, just pretending to be happy and like, have all this built up like issues, and I just go and try to serve people. Like I think you have to like break down the wall before you can help others, right? Then you can feel more fulfilled to do it, right? Yeah, and other people would feel it. Like, and I think when you're truly like in that phase, people can see it, like the passion, the dedication. Like they can see you're being a good person because you want to be a good person, not because some people just do it because they do it because they think it'll make them feel better. But you got to do it because you're doing it for others, and what the result is that makes you feel good about it, right? So I know there's some people just do it just to look good, like some people, well, they'll go visit like a homeless shelter and they'll broadcast it all over TV. But then some celebrities will do it behind closed doors and no one even know. So that's called, yeah, that's called truthfully doing it because it's out of love and kindness, right? Not for show, right? But I think, yeah, you have to really be taking care of yourself, your soul, and be a better person before you help someone. Yeah.
What do you think is a couple of the things that really transformed in your life? So obviously we talked about drinking, but you talking about taking care of your soul? Was there something that you had to unlock so you could actually go and step into this?
Yeah. I mean, I still have a lot of work to work on, like,
Same.
I think deep inside, like I was always trying to figure out why I had that darkness in me, but it was a lot of it's growing up as a child without your mom. That's a big part. And then me and my dad didn't get along for so many years, and we've recently kind of reconnected. But he's still like a tough guy to talk to. Sometimes it frustrates me even talking to him. But so we're not that close, right? But um and then, but now, like for some reason, like I get very sensitive. I get very emotional, even when I watched like award shows or something like emotional, like anything related to my mom or cancer. I just start bawling, and a lot of it also from my ex girlfriend. Our breakup was it took a lot out of me. I started drinking heavily, and then it wasn't until like my friends started stepping in, saying like, "Hey, you have a purpose, bro. Like you have this business. You're supposed to help people, and you're hiding from the world, like drinking every day because you and your ex broke up, right?" He's like, "You think she wants to see you like this? Like." So I had to dig myself like out of the grave, and then told myself day one, like I'm not going to drink anymore. I just cut cold turkey, and I still have that same box of beer in my fridge. And I remind myself, like, I don't, it makes me feel good that I've touched it for a year and a half. It just sits there. And, uh, and I just think that like, yeah, just there's that, I still have that hole in my soul. I feel like that's just needs that soothing. I don't know what it is still. And, I just feel like it is that emptiness I had as a child for 20, 30 years. And my friends are the only ones around, and they even backstabbed me. So it felt like I had to learn everything on my own. And the only person that gave me some like that was like that I felt a great connection with, that made me feel human, was her, right? So and even till now, I feel like I'm still like slowly getting in the groove of things. As I help more and more people, I feel like a lot of the wall is slowly kind of falling down. I don't want to use my childhood stuff to keep using it as an excuse. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that's like a long time ago. I need to be stronger and just like rise to the occasion. But there is the emptiness in me. I just can't pin it down. Like, why am I crying over like movies all the time and songs and stuff? Yeah, I feel very vulnerable nowadays too. So, but I think helping people really does. It does bring my human side and my side that I've always had, that I wanted to show. It's just I was lost for a long time, right? But now it's kind of like it's coming out, and I'm just like, I like this. I like helping people, So
Yeah, dude, I mean, I get it. And I think that, you mentioned that there's still this work to be done. I don't know that the work ever stops. I mean, I've been in therapy for decades. I'm still doing the work. I've been in coaching for decades, still doing the work. Still I I've thought about this a lot, especially over the course of the last probably 2 years. And I feel that so much of the journey is sitting in it just day by day and choosing to do the right thing. Not necessarily for the world, because like probably in the macro, it's not as important as what you do in the micro in like this moment. And so I think that a big part of it is like in this moment, how am I showing up? In this moment, did I do what I said I was going to do? And that does not always mean going 100 miles an hour, by the way. That doesn't mean always going and crushing life. Sometimes it means, hey, I need to take a step back and chill on the couch for an afternoon. Sometimes it means therapy. Sometimes it means coaching. Sometimes it means I have to put the box of beer in the fridge and leave it alone and learn how to care for myself. And the hard part is it's different. I've come to realize now, a decade into coaching and thousands of people through my programs, you can't, not everyone's journey is the same. I mean, not even my journey is the same. Like I look at some of the things that I do today and they're wildly different than the things that I did 2 or 5 or 7 or 10 years ago. And it's a constant evolution. And I think one of the hardest things about the evolution is whether or not we like it, our childhood informs who we are. You can't escape it. And I think that being a person who chooses themselves on the daily, that's the way that you heal. And I think that that's super difficult because if you don't understand and you can't name who you are and what you want, then you can't like go down this path. But you can't get there if you're freaking drunk and high all the time. And for me, I'll never forget this. One of the most incredible experiences from my life was the sobriety in my 30s that required me to sit with myself. You talked about, sometimes you'll cry and you're like, I don't even know why. Bro, I relate to that like you would not believe, because it would come up and I'd be like, what the fuck is going on? And I just realized it was decades of trapped emotions trying to escape.
It's right. Yeah.
So what would you tell to somebody who is listening right now? They're resonating with this and maybe they have fear about their journey. Maybe they have fear about the business. Maybe they have fear about letting go of the friends or the drugs or the alcohol or whatever that thing is that's holding them back.
I know it's tough. Like it took me this many years to let go of all my friends pretty much. I only have like maybe like a handful of friends. And I think you have to sit and analyze yourself and who these friends are, if they're quality friends, if they're going to drag you down, if they're actually like happy for you when you succeed. Because some people, they act like they care, but when push comes to shove, they're not there for you for a lot of things. When you need help, they're not there. Like they'll judge you for everything you do. And I think you need to like just look at yourself and see if you're happy, like if you look in the mirror, like how happy are you with these people in your life? And if you're not good for you, just the best is like a cleanse, almost like releasing them. For me, I think some of them didn't understand why I did it, but I think they deep inside they did, but then I just cut everybody off and, they'll look at my Instagram, they'll look at my social media, but I don't reach out to them. I'm just focusing on my own self-healing in so many ways that I don't think, like I think if I met some people, they were really cool people, and I'll feel them out, then I'll probably kind of invite them in to hang out and stuff. But I don't have a big inner circle right now. But I feel like everyone should have some really good best friends or close friends. But you got to be careful, like who your friends are nowadays, right? So focus on yourself and like get the help you need. Going sober was the best thing I've ever done. I didn't want to go to my senior events drunk or hungover or showing up a podcast hungover, sharing my life and my journey like hungover and looking like I've never slept in like, weeks or days. Like, yeah, I think to be a good role model, like you gotta just gotta remove the negativity from your life and go forward, but it's hard. It's easy said than done, right? But
mm-hmm. Well, it is, but you have a decision. It's like, what do you want? Do you want the life that you have? or do you want the life that you're capable of having? And I think that what is so beautiful about the human experience, it all can be different in a moment. Every single day of your life, you are one or two decisions away from an entirely different life. And it's scary, dude, it's scary. Cool. To me, what's more scary than a hard decision is looking back on my life and being like, dude, you didn't do anything. You didn't live. And that can be really difficult because if you've made mistakes, and man, I've made horrible mistakes. I've done things in my life that I look back on and I think to myself, wow, I can't believe that I can still be here in this moment with all of the things that have transpired. And it's funny because I was thinking about this when I was coaching a client recently, and I was trying to push them into this understanding and this idea of it's like, be in this moment, be right here, right now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, because those things don't matter. Of course, you want to have goals, and you also have to look back at the past sometimes to understand and evaluate how you got to where you are. But I think so much of it is you have to be able to come into this moment and make hard decisions. You mentioned that you really are thinking through a lot of the choices and the decisions that you make now. I want to talk about that because I think this is an area that people tend to get lost because it requires just this wild amount of resilience to build and create a change in your life. When you're in the present moment and you're facing these really hard decisions, how are you thinking this through? How are you making decisions in real time?
Like I just keep telling myself, don't make the same mistakes as I've done in the past, right? And that formula seems to be working. And just working hard, not taking shortcuts, making sure you're in a healthy mind space to do this stuff. Like I said, a lot of this stuff I've never done it for like decades. I was always too reliant on other people. But now that I make all the decisions for my company, I don't want it to fail. I'm so strict with probably training new staff later that I want them to be perfect. Treat this business, treat the seniors, treat my clients like you know, they're like human beings. You got to be like very interactive with them and just connect with them. Some people might even say I don't push sales enough, which is fine. Like for me, it's like I like that connection, and eventually everything will come with it, right? Like I think people really respect that I take the time and I drive across the city by city, drive 21 locations in 2 weeks just to see seniors and work with them individually in groups. And sometimes I might not sell anything, and I'm fine with it. It's just the one-on-ones, just the the intimate connection with people is what keeps making me a better person, I think. Because before it was just partying and just my mind frame was definitely not there. But being not that servant, I guess, the servant of God, people say that, like that person that I think that's what I was meant to do right now. This is my path, is to help as many people as possible in my own way, I guess. But yeah, I think that's how I make decisions now. Just don't listen to other people. Just listen to yourself, what you think is the best solution, and don't make any mistakes from your past, and you should be pretty good.
Yeah, it's there's some truth to taking your own experiences and not doing them again. I mean, I can't imagine what my life would be like if I was still doing the same crap I was doing when I was 25 years old. Like I can't imagine how bad it would be. And so I think that there's something really powerful about that. And every single day in those moments, it's also choosing yourself. Like it really is. It's like, do you love yourself enough to at least try? Because maybe you don't, dude. And honestly, maybe you're in a really shitty place right now and life is just not working and everything is upside down. And you're like, I'm about to go bankrupt and I'm broken up and I'm bottles up and everything is not going my direction. It's like, okay, cool. Make a fucking decision right now. Do something different in this moment. And the snowball effect will happen in time. And if you look back at your life 15 months ago, 18 months ago, probably doesn't look or feel like you thought it would. and yet here you are. And I think so much of life is about that. It's sit in this moment and decide about would I had a friend tell me this, and I've been thinking about this a lot too recently. They said, would future you be proud of the decisions you're making today? And I think that's just one of the most true things that I've ever heard in my life. And so, would future you be proud? And I think that's a great leverage point for the way that you're operating in your daily life. Michael, before I ask you my last question, tell everyone where they can find you, learn more about this incredible project that you're working on, and connect with you if they see fit.
Yeah, things have come a long ways. We've been in business for 2.5 years. We upgraded our new assistive hearing device. It's a new way of hearing. So people that don't wear hearing aids, allergic, or just don't, think it's too expensive, they can try ours, right? Ours is open ear, so nothing goes in your ear. So it's just a new concept. People are liking that. You don't get earwax build up, and you can wear something that's affordable, which is what I'm trying to do. My vision is to help everyone. So children, laborers, people all ages, all walks of life, low income people. That's what I want to help. And that makes up for a big population in the world. Most people are low income, right? And they can't afford expensive hearing products. So this is where we're at. We have a great concept that's healthy, affordable, accessible, and I'm trying to bring it global. I just finished Dragon's Den yesterday audition. They were very impressed, and it sounds like it's leaning towards that decision, but I'll wait till end of this month. But they can find me on my two websites, www.theinnerflow.com. So THEINNERFLO, no W. So they put the W, they will get something else, or .ca. So Instagram is the Flow Group, and also the Facebook is the Flow Group as well.
Great. And guys, if you go to thinkunbrokenpodcast.com, you will find that and more in the show notes. My last question for you, my friend, what does it mean to you to be unbroken?
I think it's like being free from the past, just letting go of a lot of the heaviness, almost like rising, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, having a second chance to be better and try to not erase the past, but just create a new future, right? And that's exciting for me. So, I think everyone can do it if they try hard enough, Yeah.
Yeah, could not agree with you more. And I mean, you're living testimony of that, because to go from life just is not working to I'm going to help other people make their life work. I mean, that's incredible and beautiful. And you should be very proud of yourself. Unbroken Nation, my friends, thank you for listening. If you got any value out of today's episode, please make sure that you share this with someone in your life, especially if they have difficulties with hearing, because maybe the Flow Group could help them create a massive change in their life. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and until next time, my friends, be unbroken. I'll see ya.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.